Part 2. Talk a little bit more about the equipment on these albums, Rock and Roll and Loaded Live. When the first one came out, I think everybody was quite surprised. RCA perhaps were quite surprised by how much it sold, because there's a huge crossover. So you got Lou Reed fans, some of whom liked it, some of whom didn't. Some of whom didn't like the rock and roll kick-ass approach to these songs. But also the crossovers to the sort of rock brigade, who would maybe be buying Montrose, Derringer, UFO, Lizzie albums. And when I first heard this, one of my friends said to me, have you heard Lou Reed's Rock and Roll? He had the LP. And I said, I know who those guys are, because my friends saw them at Liverpool Empire. They'd seen Alice Cooper with Stephen Dick. So I know who those guys are, but I had never heard the pair of them just wail it out, like that. And it was mind blowing. It was just like, I've got to get this album. And it became, one of my favourite albums, I guess, for the last 50 years, as did Lou Reed Live. Now, because that one sold so well, I think the record company thought, well, is that the whole concept? Because it's not, it wasn't a double album. Are there any songs, in the archive can we bring out the leftover? If this is leftovers, it's still better than 99% of live albums, in my opinion. So, if you've got in the first album, there's a little bump in the road here. Intro by Steve Hunter, the instrumental piece, Sweet Jane, Heroin. When this was reissued about 10 years ago, suddenly you got How Do You Think It Feels? And Caroline says, how do you think it feels is the one that goes... That's how you think it feels, right? So you've got 2 extra tracks in Rock and Roll Animal, which weren't even pulled up for the Leftovers album, Lou Reed Live, although they're absolutely fantastic. And then goes back to Normal, and after Caroline Says, you get White Light, White Heat, Lady Day, and Rock and Roll. Whereas this album starts with Vicious, and as soon as you hear it, you think, well, why wasn't this a double? Why, surely that's got to be on any live album ever. Followed by Satellite of Love, Walking the Wild Side, I'm Waiting for the Man, and then the double hit of Oh Jim, Sad Song. Now, on the first track, after the that's the opening harmonies and into Sweet Jane, when the band eventually go into the which is the Sweet Jane riff, and the crowd explodes as Lou Reed walks on the stage. It's a brilliant moment. It's a pity it's not a video if you watch it, but just listen to the record, it's great. Dan Baird of the Georgia Satellites was in the audience, and when he was interviewed a few years later in Guitar Player magazine, he said he was sitting there at the Academy of Music in New York, and he said, Les Paul and Junior, I've got to get that sound. Now, we now know that Steve played through a high watt. I think Dick played through a 100 watt Marshall. On the inside cover, it's the guys are in shadows. There's not great pictures, but it looks like Steve is playing a double cut version, double cut Junior, like this is a reissue, but double cut. And later on, he put a humbucker in there to give him 2 pickups. For years, I thought Dick was playing either this in the TV finish or in Cherry, but again, it's in shadow, it's hard to tell. And when you see photographs, my friend Colin showed me a couple of photographs of the actual show and the band at Crystal Palace, garden party in London. Dick's got a melody maker. So the sound, although the sound to most of us, if you say, could you define a Les Paul through a Marshall, Junior through a Marshall? I'd say, well, it's Rock and Roll Animal. That's the sound of it. As I say, Steve was playing so high. But as I've said 100 times before, what you play is 100 times more important than what you play it on. That sound, it's the only sound that when I hear it on a record, I think, oh, that's a Junior. Now, it may be that what I'm hearing is somebody who plays in a style I really like, and a lot of the guys who play in that style played juniors. That could be Leslie West, it could be Mick Ralphs. Steve Stevens has played a junior. On David Johansen's album, Thomas Trask and Johnny Rao, Johnny Thunders and Dalton, all great players, all played juniors. But for me, Louis Weisfield has another one played this one. For me, these two define, you know, a junior through a martial, although as I say, Steve played. However, now years ago through the magic, if you like, of the internet, I asked Steve Hunter when, you know, that band was assembled, you know, Prakash John, Recall God, Penny Glenn, Dick Wagner and yourself, Steve Hunter, did you and Dick make a conscious decision? Let's play a junior. That would sound great. If we both played juniors, you know, that would sound fantastic. And he said, no, it's a complete coincidence. Which is really interesting. Around that time, guitar players were haunting the pawn shops of America for these guitars, which, you know, came out in 1955, I believe. If you look at the adverts, they were marketed as a student or ladies model, because, you know, they're quite small. And you know, sometimes if you say you play a junior, someone will say to you, yeah, are you going to graduate to a real guitar? You know, junior just means one pickup. That's all it means one pickup. This one, special, as we said, Ted there, that's the same guitar with two pickups, right? But although you've only got one pickup on this, you can have the tone all the way up, or the tone down. Or up. You know, so you've still got two sounds and all points in between. So Les Paul and Junior, someone else. MXR Phase 90, and I'll be using that a lot on the videos of all these songs. Errol Slick is a fantastic exponent of the junior, and recently in London there was a question and answer, and somebody said to him, you know, what was that sound that you had on David Live? And he threw it back to the guy in the audience and said, well, what do you think I used? And the guy said, SG Junior, 50 watt Marshall, MXR Phase 90, and you know, Errol said, yep, absolutely bang on. So it does, to some of us, define a sound. It certainly does to me, right? If you go through all these videos, I'm just about to start, and by the end of it you'll be able to play every song. Hopefully every chord. There's a few chords that are maybe somewhat controversial, or maybe open to debate. All the fills, hopefully all the solos, you know, the whole 9 yards. If you want to do that, I dare say there's not a huge amount of people who want to do that, but you know, it'll be here if you want to. The resource for it will be here, if I get it right. One other interesting thing, and there are many before we get down to the videos of the actual songs, is the running order. As I say, it's different to what you get on the albums, because what was actually played was they came on and played Intro Sweet Jane, How Do You Think It Feels, Caroline Says, I'm Waiting for the Man, sorry, Lady J, Heroin, Vicious, Satellite of Love, Walking the Wild Side, Old Jim Sad Song, White Light, White Heat, and finish with Rock and Roll. That's a running order, thanks to courtesy of my friend Colin, who told me that's a running order they actually played. So if there ever were like a box set or something, it'd be great if they put it in that order. It'd be great if they did anything. There's no film of it, I don't believe, which is a pity. And the album's full of it's full of mysteries. You know, there's a famous Dick Wagner, like I think he does on the Alice Cooper show, where you hear him go that way, right? And the first time I heard that, I thought, Dick's playing a junior and now he's moved to BC Rich. How is he doing that? Because you imagine, like, you know, Hendrix, you'd have a Stratocaster and either pull out the bar, or if it went the other way, you know, you'd pull it down. And you know, then I realised he was playing that trill that we'd all play, then reaching behind and letting it down. It's a bit of No Jim where he does something similar. They like saying any. And they play. So there's that little bit. There's millions and millions of bits like that over the two albums that you hear it and you go, what is that? There's a line on Lady Day that for years I go, what is that? It sounds this really jazzy line, and it's got this, got that chord, and they play a and then back into the sort of rocking, they play that descending chromatic. There's millions and millions of little twists and turns on these two albums. So we've done the running order, the two albums, the equipment, although if you want to play songs you can have whatever guitar you want into whatever amp you want. If you get the notes right, believe me, it'll sound right like it. So I'm going to endeavour to go through these two albums and go through everything. Just to sign off, now we know that the running order is different, but a couple of years ago I suddenly thought, wait a minute, there's a bit right at the end of Sweet Jane where I'll just have to tune up because I've got this thing. Right. At the end of Sweet Jane, where there's at the end of it, the two guitars go. And there's a heavily phased C sharp on top of the A. Right? Intro Sweet Jane done, and we're just going, oh my goodness. And suddenly you hear this. And I found that one of the most atmospheric things I've ever heard. This is long before the era of like roadies bringing a different guitar for every song and whipping it around somebody's neck, plugging it in, and every song's in a different tuning or whatever. And that's great. I love to see that. I love to see guys playing loads of different guitars. But this is from the era where conceivably guys played one guitar for the whole show. So the E, the low E, has gone down to D. But I was confused because the next song is Heron. Why would you down tune for that? I don't really get it because the main chord is a C. Why do you need that? And a couple of years ago I thought, wait a minute, it's out of sequence. I wonder if they've taken that bit that's so atmospheric, could it be at the start of O Jim? Because in O Jim there's a section that goes into a sort of 12-bar sequence. That bit. So it's in D anyway, And it hits the 3 chord. And you get that low note from the bowels of hell. So perhaps it was there, but that makes a lot more sense when you realise that there's the order that they played. It's not, much like UFO's Strangers in the Night, it's not the running order. Right, so again, apologise for all the blah blah, but I think it's really important, it's important to me anyway, to put over the thinking behind this. I've done this before with the first Derringer album and Sweet Evil. I tried to do a video, or multiple videos, of every song, just because I love the albums, So I'm going to attempt that now. I'm not going to do them secrets. I'm not going to start with Interested Jane because I've done other videos of that and heroin, so I might just cherry pick through and I'll get a highlighter and hopefully stroke off everyone that I get done. As I say, if nobody's interested, that's fine. It's I'll have a lot of fun doing it, believe me. If anyone is interested, great. And if anyone says, hey man, he doesn't play that there, he plays it here, you know, please let me know. As I keep on saying, that's how we all learn. So I'll see you in video number 1, Lou Reed, Rock and Roll Animal, Lou Reed Live, featuring the legendary Dick Wagner, now sadly no longer with us, on guitar, and the legendary Steve Hunter on guitar. See you soon.